I would like to now invite Kat Hudson from Seek Volunteer to join me today. Volunteering New Zealand and Seek have had an ongoing relationship for a number of years, and I've got to work with Kat in different places and spaces. So it's a huge privilege to have you here today. Thank you for joining us, and I will hand over to you without further ado.
Thank you very much, Michelle. Kia ora, everybody. As you know, my name is Kat Hudson, and wishing you all a very happy National Volunteer Week, and thank you. It's wonderful to be here with you all today online. So I'm going to be talking about some research that we commissioned last year, which we called Putting Your Volunteering to Work. And it's connecting the benefits of volunteering to the career journey and also the hiring process. Let's get my screen to move, sorry. Sorry for the technical glitch. Let's try again. Here we go. So a little bit first about Seek and Seek Volunteer. So Seek Volunteer is part of the Seek group, as many of you would know. And the Seek purpose is to help people live fulfilling and productive working lives and help organisations succeed. So for Seek Volunteer's vision is to connect more people to volunteering opportunities that enrich their communities, their lives and their careers. And we've been operating in New Zealand now for just over 7 years. So firstly, I'd like to take you through some insights that led us to the path we went down in terms of the research that we did. So this is from the New Zealand State of Volunteering Report in 2020. So a lack of volunteers was reported by 36.6% of organisations as their single biggest challenge. Recruiting and retaining volunteers continue to pose a challenge to many organisations. 35.8% of organisations expressed concern over an ageing volunteer workforce. Volunteers report increasing preference for episodic, project-based volunteering. Volunteer motivations of developing skills, connecting with and helping community are cited as the biggest motivators. From Seek Volunteer, some of our insights. So 50% of applications on Seek Volunteer come from people under the age of 40 who are busy and interested in multiple benefits from activities they pursue. 40% of applications come from people wanting to use volunteering to progress their career. That from our research in 2015, 94% of hiring managers agreed that volunteering can be a great way to gain experience and skills that can be used in paid work. So this led us to our research that we did last year. So putting your volunteering to work, so how skills from volunteering count in the hiring process. So the research examined the value of hiring managers put on volunteering, what exactly the value and how the volunteering experience can be used to help the candidates stand out in the hiring process. So the research had three main goals. One, to identify how hiring managers assess volunteer experience during the hiring process, evaluate the value of volunteering experience, and highlight useful insights for hiring managers, volunteers or the job seekers, and the volunteer managers. And that's really the so what's out of this research. So the useful insights. So for hiring managers, so the need, build understanding of the value of volunteering and how to assess it. So the benefit, help identify standout candidates and save time. So 71% said that the quality of candidates was the main challenge they faced. 57% said that the intensive hiring processes are a challenge, often with too many candidates and too much resume reading. And 50% ranked volunteering experience as one of the most valuable factors to consider for career starters. For the volunteers or the job seekers in this sense, the need, know what hiring managers look for and frame volunteer experience in an easy to understand way. Benefit, so using volunteering to bridge the experience gap and stand out in their job applications. So 4 out of 5 agreed that volunteering can be a great way to gain skills, experience and skills to use in skilled work. 72% ranked transferable skills in the top 5 key selection criteria they look for in candidates. and relevant. So volunteer experience is considered to be the key to bridging the experience gap to ensure skills can be transferred to the workplace. As we all hear, that one of the real challenges of someone getting into their, as we say, this career starter into their first role is having some experience they can put on their resume. And so the implications for volunteer managers. So the need to communicate, promote your opportunities differently. So the benefit, attracting a new committed volunteer demographic. So the commitment, so what the hiring managers said is the 2 to 3 months is an ideal time commitment for this segment. The skills, so know the skills the volunteer could bring to the role and the skills they could build so you can help them match to the most relevant volunteer opportunities. And communicate, so skills first, social impact second. So use an opening line to attract to this audience. And I think that's something that we've also taken away from the research as well. So we've got a number of initiatives that we're looking at to how we might on our volunteer posting form think about how to tease out some of these key factors when you're posting a skilled volunteer opportunity of things you might need to do to attract these types of volunteers. So what we've done for this research is you can access it through our footer, which you can see here, and also we've created a number of content pieces that from both a volunteer perspective in our advice and tips area, and also from an organisation perspective in our organisation area within our site. We have something called recruitment advice, where you can go in and actually see some of the articles that we have and also download this research report. If I come back here to you. So what I'm hoping is that has given you some sort of insights to sort of what we learned in this research, and also some sort of useful insights and more practical things to think about when trying to attract these types of volunteers to your volunteering opportunities that will then support them in terms of their work, in terms of enabling them to put their volunteer experience onto their resume that will help them in their pathway to employment. So that was the key from me today. Please let me know and I'll hand over to you, Michelle, and if there's any questions that have come up from the research that we've done.
Kia ora, Kat. I actually have a couple of questions myself, but firstly, thank you so much for that presentation and for that nice quick tour of all the key insights. I personally am very interested in that 2 to 3 month commitment.
Yes.
Yeah, I know from other conversations we've had that you often see people or organisations when they're recruiting mostly looking for 6 months or more.
Absolutely. So, and we've talked about this and over the last, probably 7 years as well. And it's something that we've seen both in New Zealand and also on our Australian sites, that there's probably about 80% of our opportunities on site in both Australia and New Zealand ask for more than a 6 month commitment. And we know, and what we've heard is that we know that can be a barrier to people, especially the youth who are looking to volunteer. So this research is also saying, though, it's not a one-off activity that's going to demonstrate those transferable skills that you can put on your resume. But what they're saying is what you want to do is lure them in the door. Think about in your volunteer opportunity, what are the key things that they're going to, the skills that they bring and be able to build, that then when they come into the organisation, even if it is multiple roles potentially that as you come in, they can continue building that experience within the volunteer organisation. So it doesn't have to be, 6+ months, but it could be, as we said, a shorter commitment, but hopefully once they're in the door as well, to build on that within the organisation as well.
We've talked about this before, but I know what we've seen in the state of volunteering research in 2020 was that volunteers told us that 80% of them were going to stick to the role they were in. So I think there's,
we have some similar research to also say that we had I think around 70% of volunteers who started a relationship with the organisation, continued that relationship. So again, goes to the point of, in that luring of someone in and attracting someone to your role, don't think about advertising a really long commitment, but think about getting them in the door. And once they're in the door, having a great experience, and then building on that within the organisation.
Oh, that's really awesome advice. I do have I've got a little bit of a curly question, and well, it's sort of flipping it really. And because you were talking to employers, did you gain any insights on how we could change employers' minds about the value they perceive in volunteering generally?
Yes, there was a lot within the qualitative research that we did. There was a number of interviews that went through talking about, and I think we talked about this throughout some of the presentation today, but what is volunteering? And so there was an education piece for hirers around what volunteering is, so that, and the value of volunteering. But again, what we saw within the insights though was that it was still really valued. But I think there is, and again, I guess the beauty of being part of the SEEK group and working with all the hirers out there as well, something that we can also do to try and continue promoting volunteering and what volunteering is, and the value of it to a broader group within the employer side as well.
Thank you, Kat. I have received a question. You may not have an answer to this one, but would employers value micro credentials if available?
So doing micro, so the one-off, very small volunteering activity.
Yeah,
I would think so. I think what they're saying from the 2 to 3 months, potentially if someone was doing a very similar micro volunteering activity and was continuing to build experience in that type of volunteering, just say it's within social media, for example, or it might have been within data entry. So someone showing ongoing micro volunteering activities is still demonstrating then your commitment in terms of gaining that experience within that particular area. So from my perspective, and again, I can go back into the research and I can provide any further insights, or we can, and we can sort of delve into that a little bit deeper, but that would be my understanding.
Fabulous. So I think our question asker there could probably get in contact with you for that.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely fabulous. Hey, that's all the question. Well, I had another question, but I'm not going to ask it, but because yeah, we've covered some really great stuff here, and it's been deeply valuable. Thank you so much, Kat.
Very welcome.
Stay with us for the rest of the session.
Yes, thank you.
Really good to see you.
Yeah, you too, and please reach out. If anyone does have any additional questions, please download the report as well. And if anything comes of that, please get in touch. We're very happy to talk further. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for having me today.
Oh, such a pleasure. Thank you, Kat.